What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a while. So we're going to get right to it here. Here you're looking at some rocks from our property. I got them from the wash, and I'm going to make my own concrete. That's the first step, because I'm going to make what we call a perimeter slab. You don't have to do a perimeter slab, but that's what I decided to do just to make it go a little faster. You'll see it in a second, but here's the screen I use to filter out rocks and such. So once I get my materials together, sand, stone, cement, then I started to mark out where I wanted to put this shed. It's going to be 16 feet by 12 foot. I then decided to make little forms to make the little rectangles for the perimeter slab. And as you can see here, basically a perimeter slab is just like it sounds. It sits on the perimeter of the building. The pallets will sit on top of this concrete slab here, and it's a lot quicker than doing the whole slab at once. Eventually we're going to fill the whole inside with concrete, but I wanted to get it going quicker, and this was the quickest way I figured to do it. So next, you got to obtain your pallets, and that can be done pretty easily, even with lumber prices what they are skyrocketed. You can still find free pallets. There's businesses, trust me, that will tell you thank you for taking these pallets, because they get orders in on trucks and they just keep getting the orders week after week, and they just build up really fast, so a lot of times they got to get rid of them. Sometimes you can purchase pallets, and I've done that before. When I used to build furniture, I used to want my pallets all the same size, or they were really nice, and I paid a guy like $3 or $4 a pallet to have them delivered to where I was at the time, and I'd get them by the 100. But you don't have to do that. But these I got for free. The only thing I will say is that, see right here, what I'm doing is I'm trimming them down just to keep all the edges smooth. What you will want to do if you build a pallet shed is you want to try to get pallets with all the same dimensions. It's definitely going to be harder if you decide that you are just going to collect random pallets, because they come in different shapes and sizes, and it makes it a little harder to build with when everything's not uniform. So that's one mistake I made here, where I just wasn't patient. I just wanted to get this going. I have a lot of experience building, so it wasn't a huge deal, but it did take me more time to do, and there was a lot of gaps and things that I had to fill in that wouldn't have been necessary had I just waited and got pallets all the same size. So anyways, on to the next thing here. Well, would you look at that? Looks like somebody won the lottery. No, but seriously, here is hundreds of dollars of boards sitting out in the sun, and I definitely was going to make the most of these. So I decided that although I don't really want to, I'm going to rip a lot of these boards. Here you're seeing me rip some boards, but usually I'd put them on my table saw to do that, but I forget why here. There's something was going on. I think the cord was broke, and I just didn't have the tools out here to fix it. So I was using my hand saw here, and doing some rips on some smaller boards. But what you're going to see here is definitely how not to use a hand saw. Sometimes I forget about safety, and I definitely have to remember this. Wasn't wearing my glasses for one. The wind was blowing like crazy out here, and I did some dangerous cuts here that I will show you here in a second. I actually remember this cut, and I remember afterwards going, man, what was I thinking? But when you're using these saws here, these hand saws are really nice because they're actually less powerful, which is a good thing for something like this. Sometimes those 15 amp circular saws, man, they can get away from you real fast, and you can get some really nasty kickback on them, even with the safety mechanism. So here, this saw here, it's easier to control, but see what I'm doing here with my hand, where I'm pulling it into the saw like that? You definitely don't want to do that. That saw could slip up, and you could just slice your hand pretty good. It just really was kind of a dumb thing I was doing here. But anyways, you're still always learning, and this was one of those things where, hindsight, I look back and I was like, okay, yeah, definitely don't do that anymore. So, but anyhow, I decided I was going to rip these boards because here's the thing. Even if you're going to build a pallet shed and, you want to do it as cheaply as possible, you also want it to last, and there's just some reality here that you're not going to get away with doing this without doing some framing. You have to have the vertical and horizontal supports, because when you're stacking pallets on top of each other, no matter how you decide to nail them together or screw them together, there's a lot of hinge points when you're stacking things together, and it's just going to be next to impossible, especially with the winds out where I'm at, to be able to build something like that without having this wood for support. So it is necessary, and believe me, I tried to think of every way not to pay for lumber. Here I am ripping some more boards, and this is one of my favorite tools of all time. This is a radial arm saw. I don't know if I think they still make these, but this one here is an old one. This I picked up on Facebook for 80 bucks, I think, and you can find these pretty easily. What I really like about these saws are their ability to do multiple tasks. You can do, as you can see here, rips. You can do cross cuts. It's like a compound miter saw. It does all kinds of things, and they're really awesome saws. I will say, the only thing about this saw, if you're off-grid and you're doing it off-grid like I am, is you're going to need a big generator, because it's not so much the running watts that it uses, but when it first kicks on, man, the surge, this thing almost shuts off the generator, and the generator is a 4700 or 4750 watt, something like that. So because it's old, it's just the way it is. But so it does suck up some juice initially, but once it gets going, it's a real easy saw to use. Highly recommended if you're skilled with woodworking, or if you're trying to decide what to purchase. You can really get a lot for your money out of something like this. So definitely something I recommend. So here I am cleaning up after myself. Something you got to do on a regular basis is make sure your work site is clean. So you can see here behind me the back row. That is the back wall of the soon-to-be pallet shed, and I have these attached to the slab by attaching first multiple 2x4s to the bottom of these pallets, because the way these pallets are, there's nothing to really secure them to the slab unless you put a horizontal board across there and attach them to that, or if you had L brackets you could probably do that, but the 2x4 is a lot easier. So I nailed the 2x4 to the bottoms of these pallets after I got them together. Then I stood them up, and then I screwed the 2x4s into the slab itself using masonry screws and a masonry bit. So that's how I did that. Alright, so after cleaning up, you get back to work, and it's just a lot of repetition at this point. You just put pallets next to each other, and you put the beams in to act as a guide for the next row of pallets to hold them up. I'm doing all this by myself, so it can be done by yourself. And there you see it. By the time it's all said and done, you got something that looks kind of like a structure, and then once you put the rafters on, now it's just time to put the roof on and the siding and all that good stuff. So I think this is a good place to leave off. There's a lot left, but I'm not gonna be able to cover it all in one video. So I notched all the rafters and used hurricane ties. They're really not that expensive, and you really want to kind of keep your roof solid, because especially out here in Cochise County, the winds are crazy sometimes. So definitely don't want your roof flying off. So yeah, there's a lot of makeshift stuff going on here that it's definitely not up to code, but it is only a shed. It's not something that I'm living in. So it's actually really sturdy now once I got the walls up and everything else. So If you like the video, please like and then hit subscribe, and I'll try to put the next one out as soon as possible. Thanks again for watching.